So in today's workout, we are going to focus on your favorite element, the kick. Triathletes typically have a hard time with the kick, usually due to ankle mobility, flexibility issues driven by years and years of running and cycling. So we're going to get into that in a second, a couple things that you can do. But we're going to look at the kick through the context of its two main purposes for distance swimmers. One is to maintain body position, so keep the back half up. And two is to balance the stroke as you roll back and forth. So you can kind of think about the kick as your rudder. When we talk about torque forces and generating those rotational forces, we'll also talk about the kick as kind of the anchor point to produce that force. And there's some stroke timing in there as well. Now, the best swimmers, when they're sprinting, kicking as hard as they can, they're still only getting 5 to 10% propulsion from the kick. So really, it's all about the arms and making sure that what we're doing with the legs is not taken away from all the work we're doing with the upper body. So we want to make sure that we're not creating drag. And I'd say the number one issue that people have, as I've already talked about or mentioned, is the ankle flexibility. So if I slow this right down, you can see as I'm setting up the kick and I'm getting ready for that power phase, watch how much the ankle flexes here. So I have pretty much straight extension here. I said flex, I meant extension. And I actually get a little bit of hyperextension. That now I'm producing force that I can propel myself forward. Now, if you are locked in flexion, I got that one right, that would look like this, where, let's get this foot here, where you're getting ready to fire, and as you can see, it's locked. It's not getting that extension. Actually, I have my toes curled trying to flex my feet because it's so foreign to me. And this flexion here, I've actually seen swimmers, again, triathletes, push off the wall and actually move backwards because they have that inability to actually get that ankle extension. So you have two things that you can do if this is you. One, do a lot more static stretching on the ankle extension. So the couch stretch is a great one where you're opening up the ankles, even just sitting back on the ankles. If you can get to the point where you're getting that full extension or even hyperextension, that's really what we want to go for. The other thing you can do is do a lot more of your swimming with fins. So what the fins will do with the larger surface area as you're doing those downbeat kicks, it's going to open up the ankles very briefly, very shortly, short enough that that stress reflex isn't going to fire. And eventually over time, you can hopefully improve your flexibility, mobility through the ankles using fins as well. Plus, it makes your kick way easier. So that would be one of the main areas of focus. If you're not moving anywhere with the kick, you may need to do that homework first, or you can kick for the rest of your life and it's never going to come together for you because your body just doesn't move the way it needs to. Now, when we talk about kick with the stroke timing, so rotating back and forth, again, you can almost think about the kick as your rudder as you balance back and forth. So I'm using a strong beat kick right here, same time as that arm pull. So I'm setting up the catch, I'm getting into the power phase here, and the power phase of my arm pull is synchronized with the stronger beat kick or the stronger kick on the same side. So as you can see, kicking hard through here. And then I have two little ones that kind of balance me back over. Boop. Oh, there we go. Let's do it here. So there's that one. And I have the far side one, the near side two, and then I'm on this third beat. I'm back to that strong kick. And as you can see, it's timed with the roll as I come over with that arm pull on the far side. Now, this is a 6-beat kick. So I'm doing 6 kicks per full arm cycle or 2 arm pulls. And this is, I would say, what most people do. Some people do a 2-beat kick where you would do this kick, strong beat, and then nothing would happen. I'd be dragging my legs, and then on the far side here, I would fire that, bam, other one here. So that'd be a 2-beat kick. There are other beat kicks, 4 beats, 8 beats. Some of you are just randomly kicking back there. But if we can make that timing work, then we can really start synchronizing the whole body, have it working together. And when we get to the point about talking about those rotational forces, we need some sort of anchor point. You know, I've used that analogy of, I'll use baseball, hitting a home run. We need those legs anchored, something that we can provide torque force as we rotate through the core, connect the upper body, the arms. Same with swimming. If we can use the kick to anchor, produce that force as we rotate through, then we can start, you know, putting it all together and generating force a lot easier than just brute force, which we know doesn't work in the water. So you can practice some of these kick timings, just kicking in isolation as well. I'm doing a 6-beat kick practice here where bam, strong, easy, strong, 2, easy. So strong, easy, easy, strong, easy, easy, strong, easy, easy, strong, easy, easy. So if you can get that connection just with the kick, that would be a good start to then putting it together with the stroke timing. But don't worry, we will get there. So ensuring that you have the mobility, flexibility through the ankles is key. The timing with the arms, which again, we're going to do a lot of work on, is also incredibly important. And hopefully you can become efficient enough that you can use that kick to then support everything else that you're doing in the stroke. So dragging your legs, sure. That would be your starting point if you have nothing, but I can guarantee you if you can start working kick into your stroke, even a triathlete, even with a wetsuit, you are going to be able to then connect the lower body to the upper body and be a lot more efficient swimmer than just dragging your legs and doing pull with pull boy all the time. So let's look at the workout. So in the warm-up, we're going to revisit some of the arm mechanic work that we've been doing, give you some more practice time and time for mastery of these skill sets. So we'll do some 50s or possibly 25s, depending on the level that you're at, doing some double arm catch skull, then some 25 freestyle. So basically all of these will be the same, 25 of skull, so catch, then down to the mid pull, and then the finish. So sculling throughout the entire arm pull, and then swim on the way back. Hopefully feeling that water really good, having really nice mechanics through each one of those phases when you transition back into your freestyle. Then we'll practice the other fun drills, the good old underwater recovery. Again, make sure that you're alternating those shoulder rotations, getting that internal, external shoulder rotation, close fist, set up the paddle with the forearm, and then of course take that all into your freestyle, make that paddle as big as possible. The main set is all kick focused. It should all be, well, I'd say fairly easy. There's a couple efforts in there. We're going to ask you to pick up the intensity, but they're all 25, so it shouldn't be too bad. If you want to kick with a board, great. You can modify that, and I would recommend do this first set without fins. We can throw fins on for the second set. So you're just going to do a bunch of 25s. Do 25, focus on keeping those ankles nice and loose, so nice and floppy. We want the kick to initiate from the hip, translate down through the knee. So that knee is breaking where we're firing the quads, getting that snap. And hopefully at the ankle level, that is nice and floppy. You're getting the extension as it sets up. And again, it's snapping as you kick through. Then we will focus on the amplitude. You can be kicking too wide. Again, we want to keep it as narrow as possible. Now, when I'm kicking in isolation, you can see I have a little bigger amplitude than when I'm swimming. It's quite a bit smaller amplitude, and the fins will even tighten that up a little bit more. So anything outside that circumference of the waist-ish is theoretically creating drag for your frontal drag. So you want, or you can kick or get what you want to achieve very effectively by keeping those legs out of the way as much as possible, which means none of these big wide kicks. Now that typically also happens when you turn your head to breathe and you're a little bit out of balance, where those legs really open up. So be careful of that. Nice and steady, nice and tight. Then we are going to do a nice and strong kick focused on a little bit of white water. So a little bit of splashing. If you can do that, then you know you're at the surface. You can also improve the acceleration of that downbeat. If the foot comes just slightly out of the water as it accelerates initially down, because it's going to be a little bit more in the air, it will accelerate quicker so that the velocity is a little faster as the foot enters the water to finish the kick. And then you're just going to kick fast. So if you don't kick at all, be careful. No cramping allowed. We'll swim that out, and then we'll do it all again, this time with fins, and we'll kick on your side and your back. So we'll switch that up a little bit as well. So we'll rotate through, kicking on your side, kicking on your back, kicking on your other side. As you are kicking on your side, that is just going to be facing the water. That side glide with flutter kick position. When you need a breath, turn your head, take a breath, or use a snorkel. And then on your back, one thing to remember is if you want to maintain a horizontal position on your back, you need to engage the posterior chain even more, where you're kicking downward in the water, as opposed to you are still kicking downward in the water on your front, but it's quad dominant. And that's great because it keeps you up on the surface. If you did that only on your back, then you're just going to drop your legs right down. So again, a little more posterior chain, hamstring, glutes on the kick on back, and a little more balanced from front and back as well. So you're not going to be kicking up as hard towards the surface. Again, that's just physics. It's going to push your legs down. So we'll play with that a little bit. Still same focus though, some loose ankles, the amplitude, the white water, a little bit of fast, easy, and that will be it for that before we go back into last bit of swim. And then we're going to finish off with a fun little set of vertical kick. Again, this is going to force your kick. It's going to force you to work the water both directions, and we'll see if you stay at the surface or not. So that one's going to be a hard one. We're going to have different levels from sculling to fingertips out to elbows out to streamline, and again, we'll test the power of your kick being able to keep you at the surface. And then from there, we're just going to warm down, cool down, some nice easy choice swim kick, and we'll see you in the next workout.